Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be speaking about the active and passive voice. I'll be explaining what the active and the passive voice are, why they're used, and how they are structured. So let's begin with looking at what they are. So in English, we have two voices. You have the active voice and the passive voice. When we're talking about the active voice, it is clear and it is direct. When we're using the passive voice, we are looking at a more formal and impersonal style of writing. So, first of all, we will look at the active voice. And when we look at both active and passive, we need to be able to identify the subject and the verb within the sentence. And when we use the active voice, the subject always comes before the verb. And in the active voice, the subject is the person or the thing that does the verb. And I'm referring to them as the doer because it is the person or thing that does the action. When we talk about the object, that is the thing that is receiving the action. So if we look at the sentence here, Tom cleaned the room, you have got Tom. So Tom is our subject, he is the person, and he is the person that is doing the cleaning. So Tom is the subject, he is doing the cleaning. Okay. Now, in this particular sentence, cleaned is the verb. So this sentence is written in the past simple. If I wanted it in the present progressive, I could say Tom is cleaning the room, but I wouldn't have the yesterday at the end of it. If I wanted it in the past progressive, I could say Tom was cleaning the room. So the verb part of the sentence is indicating the tense of it. And then we have the room, and the room is the object, and I'm referring to it as the receiver because it is the object that has received the action. So the cleaning has happened to the room and not to Tom. So it is the object that has been cleaned. Okay, so let's have a look at another sentence, see if we can work out our subject, verbs, and objects. So this sentence, we've got Ava ate an egg this morning. So the this morning part at the end is just telling me when the action happened. Because I am using the verb ate, I know that again it is the past simple sentence. If I said Ava was eating an egg, that is the past progressive. If I said Ava eats an egg, that would be present simple. So if you change the verb, you are just changing the tense of the sentence. So in the sentence on the screen, we have Ava. And Ava is our subject because she is the person that is doing the eating. Okay, she is the doer of the eating. Then we have an egg, and this is the bit that Ava has eaten. It is the object of the action. So this is the receiver. It is what has been eaten. Okay, so that is the structure of the active voice. And whenever we use this, the subject will come before the verb. Now, when we talk about the passive voice, there are several reasons for using this. And if we are focusing on sort of not who is doing the action or who is affected by the action, but the actual action itself. So if I'm talking about something being stolen, we're not focusing on who took it, we are focusing on what is being stolen. So I might say the jewels were stolen, and we don't really need to say who did it because we don't really know. You might also use the passive voice if it doesn't matter who did it. So if you're talking about someone that has been telling lies and you don't want to pinpoint names, so you would just say lies have been told. And it doesn't matter who has told them, you are just making a statement about the fact that they have been told. That's also kind of a polite way of saying it because you're not singling out individual people. And the final reason for using the passive voice is if you are writing in a more scientific way, you would use this, or a technical way, you tend to use the passive voice. Now, when we use the passive voice, we switch things around because the subject is the receiver of the verb, and it comes at the beginning of the sentence. So the room was cleaned yesterday. So notice I don't have who did it in there. So I have the room, and the room is the receiver of the action. So it is the room that was cleaned. And notice that we've got a bit of a weird kind of verb formation in the middle here, because if I was writing in the past simple, I would just say cleaned on its own. I wouldn't have the was with it. And if I am writing in the past progressive, I would have was cleaning. But because we are writing in the passive voice, we are using what we call the past participle rather than the past tense verb or the present participle in there. So we've got the room, which is the receiver of the action, and was cleaned, which is the verb. And you've got the cleaned, which is your past participle in there. Notice this version, it doesn't have who cleaned it. Now, if I write it and I include the who cleaned it, I have got the subject, which is the room. Then I have was cleaned, which is my past participle. And then I have got at the end a prepositional phrase. And when we are writing in the passive voice, we will often have by as the first word in the prepositional phrase. So by Tom, by the children, by mum. So you have the by before the person's name to show who performed the action. Okay, so looking at the sentence that we had earlier, we have Ava ate an egg this morning. So this is in the active voice. So to turn it into the passive voice, I need to put the subject first of all. So what was eaten? So I need to put the egg first of all. So I need to put an egg, and then I need to think about my verb formation. And because I am using the past simple in the example, my answer still needs to be in the past simple. I can't change it, okay? So it needs to stay in the same tense. So I need to put was, and then I need my past participle, so eaten. And then I'm going to put Ava's name, and I'm going to put it as a prepositional phrase at the end. So by Ava. So I then have my complete sentence there. An egg was eaten by Ava. So I have, this is my subject. It's the thing that has been eaten. It is the receiver of the action. I then have was eaten. So this is my verb chain, and eaten is my past participle. And remember, if it is an irregular verb, it won't have the ed on the end. So just be aware of that. And the final part of it, my prepositional phrase that shows who did it. So it was Ava that did the eating, and I put the by before it, so it is a prepositional at the phrase at the end that shows who ate the egg. Okay. Now, I've been speaking a little bit about keeping the tenses the same. So when we are using the active voice, if we are writing in present simple, so authors write stories, we need to keep it in the present tense when we are using the passive voice. So written is my past participle, and because it is present simple, I would say stories are written by. If it is singular, I would say a story is written by. So just be aware of those parts there. Then progressive, I've got is reading. And notice what we have put here. We have got is being and then the past participle at the end there. And if we've got the present perfect, we have the has visited. So that already has the past participle. And when we turn it into the passive voice, you put has been and then the visited after it. Moving on to the past simple, she baked, and then the cake was baked. So because this isn't a regular verb, it just has the ed on the end of it. Okay. And then the boys were playing is past progressive. Turn it into the passive, you've got was being, and played is the past participle there. And then past perfect, had eaten. Very similar to the present perfect, you have got has been and then eaten as the past participle there. And future simple, the council will build. And then for turning that into the passive voice, you've got will be built. Okay, so again, it is an irregular verb that you are turning into the past participle. And if you are using the modal verbs, we've got must here, and we need to put a helper verb in there to structure this. So we've got must be, and then delivered is the past participle at the end there. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. Thank you for watching. I hope that I see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.